Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at Ask Adam Torres. And if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Gil Newsom on the line, and he's owner and general manager over at Rocketprint Software, and he's also owner over at FUELcrm. Gil, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
All right, Gil. So I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about today. So we'll talk about Rocketprint Software, of course. We're going to talk about FUELcrm, another CRM, but you have some very unique features and things and reasons why you created it. So really excited to bring that to my audience. A lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives that tune into this. So a lot of resources we'll provide them today. And just to get us started, I want to start with our signature question. So Gil, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives. So that's our mission here. Gil, what mission matters to you?
That is a good question, Adam. When I was thinking about answering that question, I thought of the question itself, mission matters. And, you know, it's kind of redundant because everybody has some sort of mission in mind, hopefully a good mission. Not always good, but, and, you know, just having that mission set for them to go forward, to do something outstanding, it must matter to you. So it's kind of a redundant title. I love it. What matters here, I feel like there's actually two types of missions that we look at. One is the company mission, and that is, number one is to treat all of our employees and our customers with integrity, you know, no sleight of hand. We want to be upfront with all the things that we tell our customers. And the other side of that is our product line, which has its own mission in itself. And that's to substantiate and to grow our customers' bottom line. You know, our Rocketprint software, the flagship program is Rocket Quotes. And Rocket Quotes is a way that our customers set online storefronts for their customers. So we have to be reliable, we have to be on time, and we know that every time that a customer is using our program, it's actually growing their bottom line because they're exchanging, you know, their service and monies.
That's awesome, and love bringing these mission-based entrepreneurs and businesses on the show. And I mean, we got a lot to talk about. So first off, like, how did you get started on this entrepreneurial journey? Because I know you've been doing this for a long time and you're working with business owners every single day. Like, how'd you get started?
Well, the word entrepreneur, you know, I mean, I'm not sure that you're born an entrepreneur. I don't know. It's something, it's a driving force in your mind to want to do something unique, something out of the box. And I started in this particular area. I've tried a lot of things. I've tried, you know, product lines, other types of services, that sort of thing. But when Rocket Quotes came together, it came together because my partner, who was a commercial printer, he says, I want to go online. I want to be out there selling online, just like some of the other people are. Yeah. And so he developed a piece of software that he could use. After first year of use, 65% markup in his business bottom line. Wow. We looked at each other and said, hey, yeah, we got to do this for other people. And so that's what we set out to do. We hired our first programmer. We started constructing some of the features and functions of the program. And lo and behold, it kind of bloomed into a piece of software. And we entered into a vertical called the web to print. And so that's where we are now. That's the way it was. It came about. That's the way. That's the way that my partner really saw the advantage of growing his business. We said, we can do this for other people, and that's that's where we are now.
So I need to consult your oracle of being an entrepreneur and business owner. We all learn from, no pressure, right? So we all learn from the ups, the downs, the sideways. I mean, everything in between, right? So I mean, I always say to be an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to have a high tolerance for pain, like your threshold for the ups and downs. Roller coasters, like riders, apply, right? So
that first minute, the first minute of thinking of an idea, a product or a service that you want to do, boy, that's like, ecstasy. That's when it hit the bottom. But then when you start putting it all together, that step after step and day after day, and then any setbacks that you may have going, that's the hard part. So the entrepreneur then becomes another area, which is either a technician or something there that is basically driving out that product or driving out that idea. When it comes to software and software development, you have all these features and functions in your head, but you got to convey that to the smart guys. You got to convey that to the guys who are actually taking that idea and putting it into zeros and ones, making it do what you want it to do. So I encourage everybody to do it. You can't not do what is driving inside you to do. You have to go after it. You have to put those steps forward and make it happen. And lo and behold, with perseverance, you come out with something. There, you may hit walls. You may hit some walls, right? You probably hit some walls with your business starting out.
Absolutely.
But
I'm 20 businesses in, and I finally have one that works. So I'm very grateful and proud, and grateful to my team that's going to be watching this and editing this. So I'm 20 businesses. I always tell people, don't ask me for entrepreneurial advice. Like, I'm interviewing other people so I can learn and we can both get the information. That's what I think makes my interview somewhat interesting, is we're both learning together. So
we are, and that's the thing, is you kind of surround yourself with people who are like-minded. I'm not saying like you wouldn't have diversion, but you surround people that are positive. You may have 10 friends and 5 of them are like, you can't do that, you can't get that done. The other 5 are envious and they don't want you to do it either. So now you got a whole new batch of friends. But the idea is for encouragement and to be persevering, and encouragement makes people continue and to drive forward things. That too.
So Gil, if you could go back and tell that Gil that was just getting started again, take that time machine, if you could give him a word or two of advice, what kind of things would you tell
him? Maybe be a little more patient, because the idea is the whole downside of being an entrepreneur is time. It's really about, it takes a minute to think of that great idea. It may take years before it comes to fruition. And so being patient, keep driving forward, set realistic goals. Sometimes goals are not realistic. Fortunately for us in Rocketprint and our software online storefronts, we formed that piece of software out of our customers' request, which makes it always nice. We didn't get together in a room full of techs and say, okay, we're going to put this whole big puzzle together right here today. It grows over time, and it grows because of the customer's request. And that really makes the product a little more secure for the future. I say a little more secure. You never know what's going to happen, but it makes it more secure because what you're building is something that people need and want. And that is so being patient, being persevering. And that might be my what I told Gil back then,
That's awesome. So let's I want to dive further into Rocketprint software, like as a resource. So tell us a little bit more about the company and really, why, like where you're at with it today.
Right. It is an online storefront. So we're basically like a print procurement system that services the print industry. You know, I say the print industry, it could be a single broker, a single person who's been selling print for 20, 30 years. It could be a marketing agency that services clients. And it could be a commercial printer. That's our majority of our customers. And so with that online storefront, what we're doing is we're selling this to our customers. Our customers are using it to set up these individual storefronts for their banks, for real estate agencies, for just a plethora of other verticals. Because everybody has business cards, everybody has postcards or catalog brochures, flyers, things of that nature. So what our storefront does is it acts as a procurement system that will give a centrality location for all the branch offices of the companies. So in that, you have to be pretty reliable. You have to be up. Storefronts can't be down. So that's what we're doing. We're servicing that whole area. And some specialty shops too. Even any company that has print collateral, they need to consolidate that, keep it in one place. But we've been very fortunate to kind of migrate a little bit out of the specific print industry into more of the specialty companies. Very thankful to have a couple billion-dollar companies that use our packages to manage their print procurement across their whole network of stores or offices. So it's good.
That's amazing. And so speaking of that, I mean, what type of companies do you work with? So you mentioned $1 billion companies. Do you work with small businesses too, mid-size? Like, give us a feel, because again, there's a lot of people watching this right now, and they may be in the market.
Right. It goes across the board. Single operators like brokers who need to put a storefront up for their, for their company that they've been servicing print with. Marketing agencies that utilize or sell print to their clients. Specialty items, like I said, companies, like I said, anyone that has print collateral, which print collateral is your business cards, your flyers, your brochures, and things. And those things can be ordered. They can be pushed out to vendors. It's a whole circular functionality around the product that keeps everything in-house and that sort of thing. So we have a nice range of customer base.
And so what separates Rocketprint software from maybe some of the competition? Like, what are some of the unique features?
Well, that's good. There's a lot of competition out there. And competition's good. Someone said that if you don't have competition, you better get into another business. And so our competition is good. What we try to offer over and above our competition, number one, a reliable product that works. One that doesn't need a lot of service, a lot of support. Number two, we are acquainted. We're hands-on with our customers, which makes a real difference with their, if there's a bank location that can't get into their storefront, and we want to be there on time. It's not going to be a ticket system where, it's day after tomorrow you get back with them, because they want it now. And so the hands-on approach, I think we're economical, very, reasonably priced. But hands-on, reliability, those are the two most important things for us.
That's awesome. And so, in developing Rocketprint and in kind of the evolution of this business, another business came about. And I know earlier in the interview, you said, everything that you develop has really been the response of what your clientele have asked for, or one of your ideas. And on our end, by the way, Mission Matters. So we every product we've ever made has been based off of what clients have asked for. So I'm not saying every product we've ever created has worked, by the way. So I think most of our failures have to do with maybe not enough people buying them. And it's like we have too small of a segment that wanted that. But here you are, you're running a successful business with Rocketprint software, and then you're in the software space already, and then this idea for FUELcrm comes about. Like, how did that happen?
That's a good name.
Software to FUELcrm.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Actually, Fuel's taken a lot of versions, so it's really gone around the block. And the reason that is because we've tried a lot of CRMs, and as a young company, 12 years ago or so, as a young company, these larger CRM programs are a little heavy, bulky, and so we said, we want something simple that works for us. And we started down that path of doing our own CRM. Worked very well. Now it has developed into almost, well, we call it the Swiss Army knife of CRMs.
Wow.
Because you find that with a lot of companies, whatever it may be, they're using 3 and 4 programs to manage their business. They may have a little marketing program, they have an email marketing program, they have other types of customer database and customer relations management. And we tried to put all of that into Fuel CRM, and it works quite well. So all these tools are right at your fingertips. And our objective really with Fuel is to allow these small, when I say small, I mean 1 and 2 employees, 5, 10, 30 employees, some of the small to medium-sized companies to be able to use the enterprise tools, mass email, stock footage, creating postcards, mass mailing, that sort of thing. So we want those people to be able to have the same tools that the larger people do, because you can run $700-800 easy on 3 or 4 of those programs we were just talking about. And with Fuel, all these things at your fingertips and at a reasonable price. That's our objective, is really to help those smaller people or smaller companies. Nothing wrong with a small company. In fact, a small company can be fantastic, a little bit less headaches a lot of times. But we want them to have the same tools that the larger companies do. So, yeah.
So what are some of the things that you feel makes Fuel CRM unique?
I think the main thing is just that, just having the different marketing tools, having the ability there at your fingertips in one program to share files across your company. File sharing is such a huge thing. We took Fuel in an interesting direction. We gave them virtual offices, which is very interesting in the day and age when most people are doing virtual things and working from home. You set up virtual offices in Fuel. They can be assigned to a person. They can be assigned to a department. Wow. And so the staff within Fuel can be allocated into the different offices that they're allowed to go in, or files that they're allowed to see, and that sort of thing. And so when the marketing department is over here, conceiving of some sort of great promo piece, the graphic artist is in their home, and they can do this, share the files, build out that campaign right there in Fuel without jumping through so many programs that you have to learn. Yeah. And that's the uniqueness of the CRM program. Yes, there are many of them out there. And a lot of them are a little heavy for people and maybe expensive. But Fuel, I think, covers all its bases when a small company can use it like that.
Tell me a little bit more about the design tool concept, because when you say this like that, because I've used a lot of CRMs, like internally ourselves, we use big companies, use smaller companies. Like some of the concepts that you're mentioning on this to me are completely unique. Like the idea of the offices, as you mentioned, or the different virtual offices and the design tools, like those are all unique. Because when you say 2 or 3 programs, I think most people watching this are using 20 programs, like easily to accomplish some of these same things. So like, tell me a little bit more about like the design tool functionality and that kind of stuff.
That's right. Well, the design tool actually happened early on with our storefront solution, because with the storefront solution, you have companies that go in, what they do is edit their print collateral right there online. And so we've taken our design tool, Design X tool, and we've incorporated it into the Fuel program so that someone can go in and design right there in the program instead of having to learn Photoshop or InDesign or some of these other design programs, you can go right there and take care of your postcard, your mailers, do variable data on your mailers, buy a data list. You can even actually buy a business or a consumer data list on Fuel. So we packed it in there, I think that by doing that, it gives our customers the ability to really expand their business, to reach out. And what I would like to see more businesses doing is really focusing on their little area, their region, and growing that out from there. Small businesses are reaching out, 50 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles, and really, sending out that advertisement for potential customers right there in the local area, growing those local businesses. So,
man, that's such
the design tool. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's such a great point too. And we've talked about that even internally. So like for what we're doing, like in terms of like interviews and bringing this content out, it's like, I always like me and my business partner, we go back and forth. Of course, there's the whole world, right? We get that, but it's like, what if we can just penetrate like our local area more? And what if we can just, build more solid relationships with local people? And then that grew from California to then it moved over to then it moved over. And so now we're focused on pretty much the United States as a whole. And the interesting thing is, obviously, as we get deeper and deeper in that market and our reach goes deeper and deeper, the international tends to kind of follow suit too. And that's happened very organically over time, over years of doing this. But I love that thought process and the idea and the way that you develop Fuel CRM to be able to get those data lists and those other things. I mean, it's just, it just seems like good business, like good staples, like nuts and bolts, like how to grow a business.
It is. It's nuts and bolts, and managing projects, and you have your project that you set up weekly, daily, and to be able to have a project area within Fuel or your tab, or just send out a simple note to someone. Now, all those tools are available. I'm not saying you can't do those. You can do them on your phone. You can do them on email. Sure. I'm saying all of this is contained under one roof, and that's what we like about it.
No, that's big. Just the end-to-end like integration part of it's a big deal. Take me through I want to talk to, there's a segment out there right now that are watching this. So there's many segments, right? But some people have, business owners, entrepreneurs, they've been through, 10 CRMs. That's one type. And that's one, they'll get this immediately. So I'm not worried about that segment, so to speak, like they'll understand because they've been through this. But there's another segment of audience watching right now. And I'll pick on myself first on this, just to be clear. I'm not going to pick on anybody else. We were operating as a media company on spreadsheets for years. And I'm talking about thousands and thousands of contacts. And if you're watching this right now, again, I'm picking on myself. But that being said, like we knew that we'd outgrown that. We knew we'd wanted to get a CRM installed. We knew that it made sense, but it was just like, oh my gosh, the headache, the task, the how to it's going to be so much. It's going to take months. What's going to happen next? And kind of like the unknown. Can you talk about the user experience and what it takes to maybe transition? And I know it's going to be different for every client, every different, business, but what it looks like to start that process of moving from spreadsheets over to CRM.
Right. Number one, we try to put everything in front of you. Sometimes programs get so heavy. And you can be spinning around over different tabs and features of the program, and then before you know it, you've just given up because you don't know where to start.
Exactly.
And that's what we've tried to do. Is we've tried to put everything in front of you, give you the hints, instructions on how to load in database or purchase database, how to set up a mass email. How to manage your projects and your tasks around your project. One nice thing about Fuel, so that's primarily what we've done. We try to make it as forward-facing as possible for users. And the other feature really that's within Fuel is just the ability to set up tasks for people, reminders for people, because in this day and age, and I know a number of people who work in industries where they're managing, a lot of workers, and they have a lot of tasks, larger companies. And it really is important to keep those employees on task, and reminders, because even things that might happen are reoccurring tasks that happen. So those are some of the things that Fuel does for the customer. And that is, it sends out alerts, sends out emails when things are due, things are ready to be done, and that people don't lose track. There's no excuse anymore. Hey, I forgot to do that, or that didn't. When the history's right there, when the emails come out, and it helps people, because a lot of people do need a lot of guidance and structure, and that's what it adds for our customers, is a structure to just do the task each day. In fact, is life not made up of tasks? We have this to do, we have that to do, and then it's just one thing after, you can check them off all day long. And that's another advantage I feel like that Fuel's giving these companies to keep their employees on task to do things. So
no, it's awesome. And the thing is, I'll just say my own bias on here. So Gil aside, Fuel CRM aside, Rocketprint software aside, like, I'll give my own bias. When we changed from doing a just regular like spreadsheets, which we thought were working, by the way, as a side note, and we had this very elaborate system, and everybody who's working on spreadsheets that's watching this, I'm not saying you can't run your business and you're not doing it right, not saying any of that, but what I'm saying is our experience is we had all these tabs, we had all these spreadsheets, they grew little by little, they made sense to us, and we are running our business pretty effectively doing that, but we never really were able to unlock the power of the data, like the true power of the data, and to segment properly and to do the things that needed to be done that could really like amplify our business in terms of revenue and in terms of tracking and reporting, because the further and further you get down the line of one solution and building spreadsheet on spreadsheet, like, becomes more complex. And then when you want to run a function, or you have a functionality that is out there, but you don't have your spreadsheet set up for, after a while, it gets so complicated. You're like, oh my God, okay, like, should we be fighting the CRM trend? Should we be fighting it? Or should we just like do what we know needs to be done and just move forward with it? Well, when we finally made that, and I'll credit our other co-founder here, Shirag. I'll credit Shirag with this, is he bugged me for years. He's like, Adam, we have to do this. We can't get this data. We can't get this. And I'm like, oh, we'll do it. We'll do it. Before we knew it, we had like 10,000 plus contacts. And I'm just like, what are we like? And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is getting a little overwhelming. And so we finally made that change. And then we were able to really unlock the power of our data. We were able to provide so much more to our audience. Like, we didn't even, like, up to that point, we weren't even doing an email, really, like an email newsletter at that point. And this is years into our business. I'd already done like 2,000 interviews already, and we distributed. And had, talking about like 15,000 pieces of content distributed, and we still were working on spreadsheets. And so I'm like, hey, okay, so once we did that, we realized, oh, you know what? We have our fans deserve more. We have more content. We moved to a daily email based off the data we collected, and all of our numbers skyrocketed because we create so much valuable content, and we give it away for free. So to sign up for a newsletter, all that stuff doesn't cost anything. So now, within a year, we sent out, I think, over 1 million emails to our loyal subscribers to our newsletter. And now next year, we're projecting we'll send like 12 million emails just to our newsletter. So what does that do as a media outlet in terms of harnessing your data, and in terms of scaling and providing content and amplifying stories and bringing our audience stories? Like, we wouldn't have been able to do that without a CRM. Like, our spreadsheets couldn't have told us that it was worth the data and the spend, and we wouldn't have had the ability to make that as a logical decision. We would have looked at it prior to that, like, oh, do we really need it? Is it worth our time? Now we live by the CRM. We're like, well, how do we get it done? Like, what do we do? Like, well, let's consult the numbers. Let's consult our database. Let's see what's going on. And so, I mean, that's my personal bias, that if you're watching this and you're not using a CRM yet, it's that you'll never be able to unlock the power of your data. It just can't happen.
Well, that is key. I mean, you can have a spreadsheet with 200 or 300 entries, or you might have a spreadsheet with 1,000 entries, and you might have a spreadsheet with 10,000 entries.
Like
It's
us.
like walking through mud if you're trying to get information on when was the last time we contacted half of these people? When was the last time that they've heard from us? No, you can't, because you'll just be swirling down to data nowhere.
And then talking about your mailing, like the concept of mailings and other databases. And even when you purchase data, it's like, how do you use that properly? We had spreadsheets as we kind of uncovered things. We had databases, spreadsheets, other things that we purchased that we forgot about. We just forgot, because after years of doing that, you're like, I don't care how good your organization system is. I'm like, wait a minute, don't we have a database of lawyers in California? I swear we bought one of those once upon a time. Like, what do you mean? And then lo and behold, I changed to another computer like recently, and I found the database out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, we do have that. See, I told you.
It's not uncommon. And people who've been in business for a long time,
a
lot of times will stay doing that same type of business, even though it's difficult. They do the same thing. And but Fuel, unlike some of the competitors on the CRM side, we have tried to make it a simple program but yet robust, but simple to get in and use.
And circling back to Fuel,
it's all about data. Yeah.
And circling back to Fuel, that's one of the reasons why I was excited to bring it to the audience, is because the fact that you made it simple and easy, especially for those that are kind of hesitant about going down that path. They don't know where it's going to lead. The fact that you made it obtainable and easy, and that you added so many features that maybe they don't need immediately, but that they can grow into, but it's not going to mess up the functionality. I mean, that's a big deal. Like, that's a big deal, is that the functionality is there from day one.
Well, the roadmap looks great with Fuel, and some of the features and functions that we're looking at adding into it is very exciting, and I think it should go well with.
Come on, Gil, you're not going to leave me on the line like that. What's next? Come on, man. What's next? What's next for Rocketprint software? What's next for Fuel CRM? Come on, give me the.
I'll give you a little hint. I'll give you a little hint. Yeah, well, Rocketprint is always, we're looking at new integrations with other systems all the time, and we're doing that. That's a big thing. Once you get to a mature stage, your next phase, basically just tying in with other pieces of software. But with Fuel, just to give you a little heads up, just think about this concept. Within your organization, you have however many 10,000, 100,000 contacts. Within the next person, they may have 5,000. And the next person may have another 100,000. So all of those multipliers within those organizations can amount to something that ties in together. And so I'm not gonna go any further than that, other than just to say that the contacts that you have in your database, they can also be applicable for maybe somebody else in another database. And so that's what we're thinking.
Well, good way to leave us with the teaser over here, Gil. But I tried for everyone. I tried. Don't worry. We'll have to get you back on the show when all these new things happen. Don't worry. I'm not worried at all on this one. So that being said, so Gil, I mean, a lot of people watching this. If somebody's interested in learning more about Rocketprint software or about Fuel CRM, I mean, what's the best way for them to connect with you and your team overall, with the softwares, with the platforms, and to just, follow the journey there?
Yeah, well, both of our URLs are open, ready to be seen and viewed, and trials are ready to be had. Rocketprint software. That's 3 words, rocketprintsoftware.com. And then there's Fuel CRM, and Fuel like FUEL CRM.com. Both of those places will take you, to our products and services.
Fantastic. And we'll have that in the show notes too, by the way. So I just wanted to have you leave those website URLs one more time. Give them to us one more time, because there's somebody that's at their office that they're like, oh, wait a minute, I got to write this down. So one more time.
Sure. It's Rocketprint Software and FuelCRM.com.
Fantastic. Well, Gil, I could talk to you about entrepreneurship and CRMs all day long. But we're about out of time, and I just like to say, of course, thank you for coming on the show. Been excellent having you here, and to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. Don't forget, go check out FUELcrm. Especially if you're not working with a CRM, go check that out and learn more about what that has to offer. And if this is your first time watching the program or listening, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We have many more mission-based entrepreneurs and businesses coming on the line. We don't want you to miss anything. And Gil, thank you again. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and wish you much more.
Thank you so much, Adam. I've appreciated it so much, and take care and best of luck with your business.